Hey everybody, welcome to day 7 of Daily CGI. I just got done watching the Blender Fundamentals 2.8 tutorial series, which is available on the Blender official YouTube channel. I'll put a link in the description to the playlist that I was following along to. The first video in this playlist has 3.7 million views, the second one has 1.8 million, and the third one has 1.5, and they're from about 3 years ago. So it's from the time at which they made the transition from 2.79 and pushed the big 2.8 update. I remember it being a big thing at the time. It's hard to tell because of algorithms and whatnot, but a lot of people were talking about the new Blender 2.8 and it being significantly different from what they were used to previously. There was a lot of excitement, which is what got me put Blender on my radar in the first place. But this tutorial series is from that era. There might be a few discrepancies or differences between what is recorded in the videos then versus how the software is now, but I was using the latest version of the software. Well, 3.4, is it 3.4? I don't even know. But I was using the latest version of the software and didn't come across any issues with differences in names or locations of features, so it's pretty consistent. Covered everything from the basics again that I already learned in the documentation. Collections, workspaces, modeling introduction was pretty good. Extrude tool, loop cut, bevel tool, knife tool. I knew some of those. I haven't memorized the knife tool shortcuts yet, like the hotkeys. Bevel, at that point in the video series, it made me appreciate the style that the person presenting the videos had. Not only did they sort of tell you about hotkeys versus being able to click down the side, they also told you about alternatives like using modifiers versus using the actual tool. So one being sort of like destructive and the other non-destructive until you hit the apply button. So that was appreciated. Intro to shading editor. Texturing, I've got to admit right here and now that texturing, just the idea of it, has always intimidated me. Maybe it's because I heard horror stories of people who were starting out just not being able to grasp the concept or having to put a lot more effort in to be able to understand how to do the texturing. So, UV unwrapping. If you're dealing with a cube, the concept is not that difficult to understand, but then getting into more complicated 3D models, it starts to become intimidating. So that's just the way it is right now. Maybe it's an unwarranted fear, but I guess I should be focusing on my weak points and trying to turn them into strengths in Blender. The other one as well being character rigging, I know not the first thing about, so maybe I should try and change that. Everything else was pretty good. The keyframes, timeline, dope sheet, graph editor, sculpt. There was a 25-minute video on sculpting. It jogged my memory. A couple of years ago, I bought a XP Pen Artist 15.6 Pro drawing tablet. That's one of those ones with the actual screen. It was pretty good. I got it because it was so heavily discounted on a Black Friday type scenario that it was too good to refuse. And then I have proceeded to not use it very much at all. I used it for a couple of video games and to jot some notes down here and there digitally, but that's about it. So I might have to... And the other thing is that I don't have that... I only have one HDMI cable and a couple of display ports. This thing requires the HDMI port, so... I have to unplug a screen to be able to plug this thing in. It's a whole thing. But yeah, I'd be interested in learning about sculpting in Blender as well while I'm at it, since I have the hardware to be able to do so. So yeah, I made it through that whole video series. It took about 3 to 4 hours, so it wasn't a slug, it was enjoyable. I do admit I sped up the video speed on YouTube from 1 to 1.5, and that got me through it a bit faster. Pro tip. But that's about it for today. I'm going to leave it there. It was enjoyable, it was good, and hopefully I can find more tutorials like this I don't know where to go from here, but I'll think about it tomorrow. Have a good one, guys. See you next time.